that Pee Wee Reese wasn't due up until the next day. Well, there was a weather problem here in Oakland yesterday. It's called sunshine. We'll examine it in just a minute.
You want to be a better bowler? Better team up with Brunswick, the #1 name in bowling. Brunswick balls, bags, and shoes. Brunswick with the hottest looking bowling ensembles for top-ranking pros or beginners. Serious about your game? Quit clowning around. Call toll-free anytime, 800-243-6000 for the name of your nearest Brunswick dealer.
Sometime, something is going to convince you to go out and buy that Black & Decker saw that you always promised yourself. Well, this is the time, and this is the saw. And this is the something. A price of only $17.99 puts Black & Decker power and Black & Decker quality right in your hands. So go out and buy one at your nearest Black & Decker retailer now. You can expect the best from Black & Decker.
Rain isn't the only weather problem. Sunshine can cause trouble, like it did here for Joe Rudy in the 5th inning yesterday. Joe, let's take a look at this play. Now, what happened?
Well, I saw the ball was hit over my head, and I just turned my back on it, ran to where I thought the ball was going to come down, and when I looked back up, the ball was right in the sun, and I just had no chance for it.
What do you mean where you thought the ball was going to come down? You didn't see it at all?
Well, the ball was hit, and I knew it was way over my head, so I just turned my back to the plate and started running, and when I looked back up where I thought the ball would be coming down, I couldn't find it. It was in the sun.
What can you do to help yourself besides sunglasses?
Well, on a play like that, there's nothing you can do. Normally, if the ball's hit high, you can maneuver around and get the ball off to the side and catch the ball that way. But when you're running for the ball and it goes in the sun at the last minute, there's nothing you can do.
Either cry mommy or help, huh?
Right. Just be lucky. Maybe it'll fall in your glove.
Joe, you weren't the only one. Cleon Jones had some problems out there in left field, and here's Cleon. Battling that sun. That's doing it the hard way, right in the weather. But other players had other problems. 3 strikes is out if the catcher holds the ball. Don Hahn proves that. He was safe at first. Here's Joe Rudy. Joe Rudy is put out by Joe Rudy. He runs into his own bunt. Of course, there's the usual discussion. What would an argument be without Dick Williams? Bert Campaneris, a 10-foot slide, 40 feet from the bag, but it pays off. Watch Milner. Doesn't even lay a hand on him. Missed him again, even in the replay. We'll have a look at great catches that you may remember when we come back.
Want to save on your phone bill? If you get a bad connection or a wrong number on a long-distance call, just call your operator and you won't be charged.
Dial long-distance calls direct and save.
Call on weekends.
Dial direct station to station after 11 p.m. and talk for 1 minute or less.
Who can only talk for a minute? These tips took just 30 seconds.
You say you want to save?
We hear you.
Once I thought Dow Corning bathtub caulk was only good for my tub, and I found I could fix all kinds of things with it. I sealed that vent up there, skid-proofed my knife sharpener, fixed the bulb of my battery tester. Dow Corning bathtub caulk comes in 6 beautiful, long-lasting rubbery colors. And because it's silicone rubber, it fixes things no ordinary caulk can.
The World Series has always managed to have some outstanding defensive plays, and this World Series will have its own to add to plays like these. Some I think you'll remember. 1954. The tying runs on base. Vic Wertz hits a ball well over 450 feet. The young outfielder making that play is Willie Mays. Joe Hatton pitching for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Joe DiMaggio is the batter. A DiMaggio home run would tie the score. But little Al Gianfrido won't let it happen. And DiMaggio gives a rare example of emotion. Baltimore's Brooks Robinson turned the 1970 World Series into a clinic on how to play third base. Here's a shot by Lee May that's changed from a double into a double play. After having a bad day in the field in Los Angeles in the 1966 series, Willie Davis showed how he handled pressure and a would-be home run by Boog Powell in Baltimore. What a catch. Let's take another look now at Brooks Robinson. This time he's got Johnny Bench talking to himself. Here's another example of the way Brooks Robinson reacts to World Series pressure. But there is justice. A miracle catch by Ron Swoboda of the Mets off the bat of Brooks Robinson. Now, some outfielders can go to their left, like the Mets' Tommy Agee, chasing the ball hit by Baltimore's Paul Blair in 1969. Then again, there are players who can go to their right, like the Mets' Tommy Agee on a drive by Ellie Hendricks in the same game. And just last year, Oakland's Joe Rudy almost, but not quite, ran out of room as he chased this one. Those were baseball classics, but I've got a different and special kind of baseball classic to show you when we come back.
Before you choose an electric shaver, compare heads close up. The Sunbeam Shave Master shaver has two kinds of whisker traps. For your stubby whiskers, it has holes, plus rows of slots to pick up the soft, flexible hairs. But look at most any other shaver. Some have only holes, others only slots. So you could shave with two shavers, or a Sunbeam Shave Master with both holes and slots, designed to get all the beard you've got. It's that simple.
This man has trouble and doesn't even know it. One little hidden radiator leak, just one, can stop a car dead with a boilover. You can keep this from happening to you by using the one leading antifreeze that stops most common radiator leaks. Zerex Antifreeze from DuPont. Zerex stops freeze-ups, helps stop boilovers and corrosion, and it stops leaks that can stop your car.
One of America's comedy classics is a baseball routine by the great team of Bud Abbott and Lou Costello. It made Who's On First part of the American language.
You know, strange may seem they give ball players nowadays very peculiar names.
Funny names?
Nicknames, pet names.
Not as funny as my name, Sebastian Dinwiddie.
Oh, yes.
Funnier than that?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Now, on the St. Louis team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellas on the St. Louis team.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
You know the fellas' names?
Yes.
Well, then who's playing first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name on first base.
Who?
The fellow playing first base for St. Louis.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
Well, what are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, who is on first?
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who is on first?
Have you got a first baseman on first?
Certainly.
Then who's playing first?
Absolutely.
When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money?
Every dollar of it. Why not? The man's entitled to it.
Who is?
Yes.
So who gets it?
Why shouldn't he? Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it.
Whose wife?
Yes. After all, the man earns it.
Who does?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm trying to find out is what's the guy's name on first base?
Oh, no. What is on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Oh, don't change the players.
I'm not changing nobody.
Take it easy.
What's the guy's name on first base?
What's the guy's name on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know.
He's on third. We're not talking about him.
How did I get on third base?
You mentioned his name.
If I mention a third baseman's name, who did I say is playing third?
No, who's playing first?
Stay off of first, will you?
Well, what do you want me to do?
Now, what's the guy's name on third base?
What's on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know.
He's on third.
There I go, back on third again.
Well, I can't change their names.
Will you please stay on third base, Mr. Broadhurst?
Now, what is it you want to know?
What is the fella's name on third base?
What is the fella's name on second base?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know. Third base. Woo! You got an outfield?
Oh, sure.
St. Louis has got a good outfield?
Absolutely.
The left fielder's name?
Why?
I don't know. I just thought I'd ask you.
Well, I just thought I'd tell you.
Then tell me who's playing left field.
Who is playing first?
Stay out of the infield!
Don't mention any names out here.
I want to know what's the fellow's name in left field.
What is on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who is on first?
I don't know. Third base.
Oh, take it easy. Take it easy, man.
And the left fielder's name?
Why?
Because.
Oh, he's center field. He said, will you pick up your hat, please? Pick up your hat and stop this. Oh, well, please.
Mr. Brothers.
Yes.
Wait a minute. You got a pitcher on the team?
Wouldn't this be a fine team without a pitcher?
I don't know. Tell me the pitcher's name.
Tomorrow.
You don't want to tell me the date?
I'm telling you, man.
Then go ahead.
Tomorrow.
What time?
What time what?
What time tomorrow you're going to tell me who's pitching?
Now listen, who is not pitching? Who is on?
I'll break you all around. You say who's on first?
Why come up here and ask?
I want to know what's the pitcher's name.
What's on second?
I don't know. Third base. You got a catcher?
Yes.
The catcher's name?
Today.
Today. And tomorrow's pitching?
Now you've got it.
That's all. St. Louis has got a couple of days on the team.
Well, I can't help that. All right. What do you want me to do?
Got a catcher?
Yes.
I'm a good catcher, too, you know.
I know that.
I would like to play for the St. Louis team.
Well, I might arrange that.
I would like to catch. Now, I'm being a good catcher. Tomorrow's pitching on the team, and I'm catching.
Yes.
Tomorrow throws the ball, and the guy up bunts the ball.
Yes.
Now, when he bunts the ball, me being a good catcher, I want to throw the guy out at first base, so I pick up the ball and throw it to who?
Now, that's the first thing you've said right.
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Well, that's all you have to do.
Is to throw it to first base.
Yes.
Now, who's got it?
Naturally.
Who has it?
Naturally.
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 Okay.
Now, you've got it.
I pick up the ball and I throw it to naturally.
I know you don't. You throw the ball to first base.
Then who gets it?
Naturally.
Okay.
All right.
I throw the ball to naturally.
You don't. You throw it to who?
Naturally.
Well, that's it. Say it that way.
That's what I said.
You did not.
I said I throw the ball to naturally.
You don't. You throw it to who?
Naturally.
Yes.
We'll be back Tuesday night. Coming up, Jerry Kuzman of the Mets against Vida Blue of the A's.
Who
You know those guys are still talking?
What throws it? I don't know. I don't know if throws it back to tomorrow. A triple play.
Yeah, it could be.
Another guy gets up and it's a long fly ball to be called. Why? I don't know. He's on third, and I don't care.
Over there?
I said, I don't care.
Oh, that's a shortstop.
Here it.
Doris Day and Brian Keith star in With Six You Get Egg Roll tomorrow night at 9, 8 Central Time.
Welcome to Game 2 of the 1973 World Series. The National League champions, the New York Mets, versus the American League champions, the Oakland A's. Brought to you by Gillette, makers of Right Guard Powder Dry Antiperspirant, the anti-stain antiperspirant. And by Chrysler Plymouth, featuring the beautiful new 1974 Chryslers and Plymouths. It's going to be warmer today than yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Temperature will probably be 80 degrees, we've had 5 gorgeous days of California October weather and, again, the bright sun here in the Oakland Coliseum. The crowd would look to be bigger today. I'm Kurt Gowdy, along with Monty Moore and Tony Kubek. Lots of complaining going on about this World Series before Game 2. The batters of both squads complaining they can't see the pitches as they come out of the white shirt bleacher fan. Also, the bright sky in left field, of course, is bothering some of the outfielders. The A's are complaining about their own hometown fans, saying they're not enthusiastic enough. And the Mets are complaining about their dumb bats yesterday when they hit those line drives and those hot shots right at somebody. The pitchers got away with mistakes yesterday because of the batter's inability to see very well at the plate, and we might have another low-scoring game today. We have 2 left-handers on the mound. Vida Blue will be going for Oakland, and Jerry Koosman, the hero of the Mets pitching staff in the 1969 World Series, is their man. Let's get over here now to Monty Moore, the broadcaster of the Oakland A's. Find out about Vida Blue. They say he hasn't still won a big one in his young career yet.
Well, Kurt, that's what is said, but actually he's won 20 games this year in comparison to 6 last year. He was a winning pitcher in an all-star game for the American League, the last all-star game the American League won. This ball club, the A's, is not hitting right now, and I'm sure the Met pitching has a lot to do with that. And as Dick Green said yesterday, I think, Kurt, he hit it right on the nose. Defense is going to be the difference in this series with this kind of pitching.
He was the defensive man yesterday.
And the defensive mistake cost the Mets a run, and as a matter of fact, cost them the ball game. And we have a good look at that and the big plays of yesterday's 3rd inning of the game. In that 3rd inning, Kenny Holtzman, the Oakland A's pitcher, is the man who got the first hit to get it all started. Holtzman had not had an official at-bat all year since the designated hitter rule has come. He got Matlack at a 3-ball, 2-strike count, guessed fastball, got a fastball, and hit it down the line and left. And Kenny had to run hard, and he slid hard into second base, cutting his knee right there, and he was out of the ball game very shortly thereafter. Here's the big play. Campaneris hit an outside fastball right through the legs of one of the most dependable fielding second basemen in baseball, Felix Millan, who made only 9 errors all year. Holtzman scored on the play, and that left Campaneris at first. They had him picked off, as you can see, but he never goes back when he's picked off, and he just kept going. The high throw to first base from Matlack allowed Campy to steal second base, and that brought up Joe Rudy, one of the A's best clutch hitters. He was looking for a pitch he could drive anywhere. It was an outside pitch. He drove it to right field, and Campaneris scored from second base, what proved to be the winning run of the ball game.
All right, that's the way it went yesterday. Rusty Staub, by the way, is going to be in the Met lineup today. He took batting practice. He still has a painful right shoulder. He says, I can do everything but swing and hit. And he says, that's what my profession is all about. But it's getting better each day. And now, before the game, Tony Kubek, our colleague, had a conversation with the New York Met manager, Yogi Berra. And let's see what they had to say.
Yogi, you're down 1 game in this World Series in 1973 to the Oakland A's, but you don't look worried.
No, I feel fine, Tony. That's only 1 game. You know, you still got to win 4 to win it.
What'd you think about this ballpark, the fans in this town, and, of course, the Oakland A's team? Learn anything new about them?
Well, Tony, we never played them, you know. My gosh, the only 2 I know, actually, is Campaneris and Green. I was still playing when they were over there, and we don't know too much about their pitching. They don't know too much about ours.
How about Jerry Koosman today?
Well, we hope he's ready. He's had his 4 days rest, and he's a pretty good money pitcher.
Is Carmen all right?
Fine, good.
She called all the shots yet?
No, she's not calling.
Yogi, thank you. Good luck today's ballgame. I know you got a little trouble in ear infection and stuff. Is your team healthy?
Yeah, well, I'll try to stop. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Yogi Berra, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's go back upstairs.
Carmen is Yogi's wife, and his son played on the winning football team yesterday at the University of Massachusetts, so outside of that earache, he's in a good mood today. And now we're going to meet the starting lineups, the squads of the Oakland A's and the New York Mets, and we'll have the ceremonies of the first pitch, so let's go down on the field.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Oakland Alameda County Coliseum for the second game of the 1973 World Series. Here are the official lineups. First, the New York Mets. Here's the manager of the New York Mets, number 8, Yogi Berra. Batting first and playing third base, number 11, Wayne Garrett. Batting second and playing second base, number 16, Felix Millan. Batting third and playing right field, number 4, Rusty Staub. Batting fourth and playing left field, number 21, Cleon Jones. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 28, John Milner. Batting sixth, the catcher, number 15, Jerry Brody. Batting seventh and playing center field, number 25, Don Hahn. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 3, Bud Harrelson. Batting ninth and pitching today, number 36, Jerry Kuzman, who's warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the New York Mets. And now for the defending world champion, Oakland A's. Here's the manager of the A's, Dick Williams. Batting first and playing shortstop, number 19, Campy Campaneris. Batting second and playing left field, number 26, Joe Rudy. Batting third and playing third base, number 6, the captain of the A's, Captain Sal Bando. Batting fourth and playing center field, number 9, Reggie Jackson. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 18, Gene Tennis. Batting sixth and playing right field, number 22, Jesus Alou. Batting seventh, the catcher, number 10, Ray Fosse. Batting eighth and playing second base, number 1, Dick Green. Batting ninth and pitching today, number 14, Vida Blue, warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Oakland A's. Ladies and gentlemen, bearing the colors today is the Alameda Naval Air Reserve Color Guard from Alameda, California. Today, the Oakland A's band, the Swingers, will accompany Tennessee Ernie Ford, who will sing our national anthem. And now, to honor America, let us all join in singing the national anthem.
How is the first pitch, okay?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er a rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets river, the bombs
Game 2 of the 1973 World Series will get underway after the ceremonial first pitch, right after this message.
When Old Man Winter throws his Sunday punch, you can bet corrosion is out to get your car's cooling system, too. The answer, Prestone 2, Winter Summer Protection. Only Prestone 2 has a patented silicone silicate formula. The Prestone Inhibitor System shields and preserves metal against rust and corrosion. Protect against freeze-up, boil-over, and corrosion with Prestone 2. If you can't trust Prestone, who can you trust?
We like to buy some.
Radial Lifesaver Steel Goodyear tires.
Goodrich pump.
That's what I mean. My son is a college graduate. He tells me Goodrich been making your radial tires 8 years. Bravo. Tires you make good. But whoever makes your name an elefante?
Elephant.
An elephant would forget it. So I got some ideas for you. Is Mr. Goodyear around today?
Goodrich pump.
Goodrich.
If you want Goodrich, you'll just have to remember Goodrich. Nearly 25 years ago, Diners Club introduced the first executive credit card. Today, around the world, Diners Club is still the first card. We're honored in 75,000 more places than any other executive credit card, including American Express.
Diners Club, for just about everything.
Diners Club, the first card.
Diners Club, the first card.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the commissioner's box directly behind the A's dugout, where Bob Hope will throw out the first ball. Right-hander Hope on the mound with a ceremonial first pitch. There are the A's taking the field. And the umpires assigned to today's game, Augie Donatelli will be behind the plate representing the National League. Jerry Newdecker of the American League at first base. Paul Pryor of the National League at second. Russ Getz of the American League at third. Harry Wendelstedt of the National League on the left field line. And Marty Springstead of the American League on the right field line. Vida Blue on the mound, and with left-handers Holtzman and Blue for the A's, Matlack and Kuzman for the Mets, the starters in the first two games. This is the first time since 1963 that four left-handers have started in the first two contests. Sandy Koufax and Johnny Padre started for the Dodgers in the first two games of the '63 World Series. Whitey Ford and Al Downing for the Yankees. Right-handers will be going Tuesday night at Shea Stadium. Tom Seaver for the Mets and Jim Catfish Hunter for the Oakland A's. Tony, let's analyze Vida Blue.
Well, we saw him in that American League Championship Series against Baltimore. He gave a strong 6 innings. And, Monty, I know he had the kind of fastball he's had many times late in this year. He was outside and down at good velocity at times, and all of a sudden he tried to go to his breaking ball and slider, and he got hurt by the Etchebarren home run. But he's become a pitcher.
Yes, he has. He's throwing a pitch this year that he himself calls a slurve. It's right between a slider and a curve.
And a slurve?
Yeah, and Vida said it's a slurve.
All right, we're going now to Game 2. Wayne Garrett stepping in for the New York Mets, and stepping in here for NBC to handle the play-by-play, the outstanding broadcaster of the Oakland A's, Mr. Monty Moore.
Thank you very much, Kurt, and hi again, everybody. Wayne Garrett, .256 hitter for the year. His brother Adrian played with the Oakland A's very shortly a year or so back. Vida Blue starts him off and misses low and outside, ball one.
Well, Monty, the Mets are waiting for this man to break out. He was their hottest hitter in September, but he hasn't hit in the playoffs in the first game of the series.
There's the blue blazer as Vida came back inside on him. He started him off low and away. And you'll see Vida, if he has his control the way he wants it, doing just that now. Early in the year, he didn't have that good control. He was throwing mostly fastballs and just throwing them. The umpire at first base had asked for something to be removed, I believe, behind the home plate area. There's a man who had a white sign down there, right behind the backstop.
And a cover of a tape recorder was sticking up, evidently throwing a glare at first base.
Vida hit the outside corner at 2 strikes. You notice Vida's number 14, and you who remember Vida from 1971 remember that he wore number 35 to fame, and fortunately, but he went back this year to his high school number. If it just misses, it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Vida wore this number in high school in football, where he was quite a quarterback, as well as baseball. Missed with 2 close ones. It's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Rusty Staub and Felix Millan are both on deck, limbering up, getting ready. Vida threw it right by him. Strike 3. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Here's the second baseman of the New York Mets, Felix Millan, and what a year he had. .290 batting average. Live 0-1. I would imagine that he's made up his mind to lay off Vida Blue's high fastball because it takes off. If it's coming up there high, it's going to get higher. That one just blows right on through. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. He doesn't give you much of a strike zone. Swinging late, he fouls it off.
The Mets are having trouble getting around on him the same way the Orioles did for 5 innings. The right-handers you saw swinging late. Garrett, that 3rd strike blowing right by him. He's just as quick as he was against Baltimore the other day. But the thing is, now we'll see how long this lasts.
Now the umpire's asking that same man to take that sign down off the videotape machine. It's really making a glare for Gene Tennis over at first base.
Notice one thing, Monty, in this ballgame. Joe Rudy in left field is playing a little bit deeper today off Felix Millan.
Strike! Called it, nailed the outside corner. Millan doesn't believe it, but he's gone.
Blue the other day, as quick as he was against Baltimore, struck out only 1 man. He's nailed the first 2 today.
He's had that outside corner. Look at this pitch.
Typical pitching pattern these young pitchers use on the Oakland A's staff. They like to go away. Ball was in the strike zone as far as height, but from the angle it was difficult to tell if it was outside or in.
Here's Rusty Staub, who did not play yesterday. Takes high for ball 1. Rusty had 3 hits in the playoffs. They were all 3 home runs, and all 3 off left-hand pitching.
He hits left-handers as well as he does right-handers.
He just threw that ball right by him, and this was going to be the interesting thing to me, Kurt, to see if Vida would challenge him inside here today because of that sore shoulder. He went right after him right then. Two balls, 1 strike to Rusty. Tipped it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I don't know if you could see on that last swing that when Staub went into his follow-through, his right arm and hand came right off the bat. He's going to be swinging with that left shoulder and left hand, trying to come over the top on the ball and protect that right shoulder.
Got that bat ready. It's really up in the strike zone. You can see he ended up with 1-hand swing right then. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out.
Watch the Staub swing once again in slow motion. Keep your eye on that right shoulder, hand, and arm. There he drops it, a twinge of pain. He's had several shots in the shoulder.
Vida misses low. He's gone a 3-ball, 2-strike count.
I noticed during batting practice he was just trying to lay the bat on the ball and poke it to left field. The shots he had were cortisone. 3 shots in his shoulder.
Like Ray Fosse wanted that pitch outside, and apparently Vida shook him off.
Monty, will be interesting, too, when he gets there's Fosse behind the plate. Interesting in the outfield with Starr, because before the ballgame, he could not throw at all.
See where Fosse puts his hand. He put it over on the left leg. He wants it outside. Over the mound. Campaneris got a tough play, but he made it. And the Mets are out in the first inning. The score, the New York Mets, nothing. The Oakland A's coming to bat.
Today's Jets depend on the air traffic controller. He depends on critical devices, some with works in a drawer. Here's another device, the solid-state works-in-a-drawer Quasar Color TV, shown with simulated TV picture. Lives don't depend on it, but you rely on it for a beautiful color picture. Look for the works-in-a-drawer TV, Quasar by Motorola. See this World Series special at participating Motorola dealers. $399.95, Motorola suggested list price, optional with dealer.
The girls are working out for the game of the year and waiting on the car that was bringing the gear. Plymouth Duster, 74. You can get yourself this flip-down seat that holds equipment nice and neat in a carpeted locker room 6.5 feet long. And you can get this roof opens easy, too. Cranks right shut if you don't like the view. 74 Plymouth Duster. A lot of car for the money again.
Jerry Koosman had a strong second half of the year for the New York Mets. In the 1969 series, he started twice, and he won twice.
Koosman, like Blue, has become a pitcher. Just 2 years ago, he used to strike out about 1 batter per inning. Now he is a control pitcher, does not strike out as many, has 4 pitches, fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. Depends what he has when he goes out to the mound as to which pitches he'll throw, the ones that are effective on this particular day.
From looking at his statistics, Kurt, he must have had an awfully tough luck year with an earned run average of 2.84 to win less games than he won. 14 wins and 15 losses. Here's Bert Campaneris. 1 strike to count. National League umpire Augie Donatelli behind the plate. They tell us that he gets close enough to the catcher at times, he puts his hand on him. Keeps that kind of contact. Campaneris taking a shot to right field on the Koosman fastball. It's no balls, 2 strikes.
Koosman's had all kinds of problems. In '68, he and 2 of his buddies were babysitting while their wives went to a Broadway show, and he burned his pitching hand with some hot popcorn butter. Scalded it. Nearly cost him his career.
Wow, he didn't get on top of that curveball at all. He really let it get away from him.
He wore bandages in that pitching hand for months. He thought he was through.
The Oakland A's are wearing a white uniform today. They call it their polar bear white, and they only wear them on Sunday. They have 3 uniforms. Bud Harrelson had a busy day yesterday. Gets Campaneris. 1 out.
I told Harrelson he was approaching the record for most chances yesterday in a 9-inning World Series game, and he didn't know it. I think he said he handled 15 chances in 1 game this year in a 14-inning game.
He was all over this place yesterday. Here's Joe Rudy, who drove in Oakland's winning run yesterday. For the season, Joe hit .270, and most of that was after the All-Star break. Solid 300 hitter last year. Really had his troubles this year. There's the changeup by Koosman, and he's high with it. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Matlack said, I definitely went against the scouting report yesterday, pitching to Rudy with Campaneris at second. He said, we know he likes the ball up and out over the plate, and that's right where I threw it. Change up again, and trying something different on him today.
And you know, Monty, Koosman came back from arm trouble in '70, '71. He labored with a bad arm those 2 years. Completely recovered now. Not quite the velocity he used to have, but a better all-around pitcher.
big guy, 6'2", a 208-pounder.
Incredibly strong.
He's behind Rudy, 2-0. He goes to the fastball, but it really wasn't a zinger. He's in there for a strike.
And he's one of the 10 best-dressed men in Morris, Minnesota. There are only 9 men in the town. We kid him about that. He won the award one year.
We're in the first inning, game number 2 of the World Series. Rudy looks at a fastball strike, and that one had a little more on it. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. You'll notice Rudy getting ready to get into the batter's box. He's one of the slower batters around and getting ready. But when he gets in there, he's really ready. Fly ball to left field, hit pretty well, and it is lost in the sunshine.
There's that Sunfield again. That ball landed at the base of the fence. Should have been caught. Leon Jones lost the ball in a murderous Sunfield here in left field.
Jones completely losing the ball. He misjudged it at first. He went all the way back to the wall bracing. He thought it was hit more deeply than it really was. He did it in yesterday's ball game, but did make a catch at the last. There you saw him flare away from the ball with that sun flickering off his glasses. Rudy's on second base in scoring position.
The A's felt very strongly that their playing games against Baltimore in the daytime here were going to be a big factor for them because this is a tough Sunfield. Here's Sal Bando, the A's captain who drove in 98 runs this season. Drive right center field. There's nobody out there. It goes by Hahn. Rudy scored. Bando going to third. He's in there with a triple. This crowd wasn't enthusiastic, but if they were listening right now, they couldn't hear anything within 10 miles of here except this.
It's come to life today, and a better crowd than yesterday. We understand hundreds of people were turned away yesterday. Something about the ticket windows. They might have had a sellout. We have just a few empty seats here today.
Reggie Jackson will bat now with a runner at third base and 1 out. Sal Bando hits a lot into right center field during the course of the year, and it was really a little surprising to see them playing him to pull that much. And he hit it right out there, Jackson. And they've got their infield in. Trailing 1-0 in the first inning, Reggie Jackson, who led the league in RBIs with 117 and homers with 32. He also led the American League in runs scored and had a good average of 293, and 12 of Reggie's 32 home runs were hit off left-hand pitching. Strike call, it's 1-1. And the Mets show that they really feel this is going to be a low-scoring game when they bring the infield in against Jackson this early in the game. There's a look from behind home plate on the third base side. See that infield right up in the face of Reggie Jackson.
This is a gamble.
Koosman just got away with hanging a curveball up above Reggie's head. Jackson fouls it off down the right field line, and I would imagine when Jerry threw that one, he wanted it back.
Bring that infield in the early innings. They slap one through. You have the making of a big inning.
They don't want to give up any runs. Reggie foul-tipped the ball and is still alive at a ball and 2 strikes, and the ball came back and hit Brody somewhere.
Sinker ball that Koosman threw, and that's the one you get in trouble with it if you're a catcher. He topped it, appeared to have hit him on the thigh. All the players wear protective devices. Cups, they're called. Brody takes a lot of the beating with those foul tips.
Ever see it? Ever see an old catcher's hands and gnarled fingers?
Apparently he's all right. Let's look at it again. A ball that Koosman tried to sink in on the fists, I believe, of Reggie Jackson. He just hopped it. Ow, right in the protective cuff.
Well, Reggie Jackson is up with a count of 1 ball, 2 strikes. See if Koosman will challenge him here or try to waste one and get Reggie to chase a bad pitch. He went right after him on that pitch. He struck him out with a high hard one to the inside. Baltimore pitched Jackson up there a lot in the series. There was a big out because now it'll take a hit or an error, a wild pitch or something like that, but basically a hit to get that runner in from third base, whereas Jackson could have done it with a fly ball. Gene Tennis comes up now for Oakland. He hit 24 home runs this year. Played in every game Oakland had except 2, 160 of 162.
Even with 2 outs, Wayne Garrett, the third baseman, not playing real deep at his position at third base. In the event that Tennis, and I don't know if he's done it during the season, Monty, does he ever lay down a bunt in this situation? I know he doesn't have good speed.
He's never bunted that I know of except in a sacrifice. Bando down the line trying to draw a balk, and the A's scored a lot of runs that way this year, particularly with a pitcher who starts his motion as Koosman is with his hand in the glove. Tennis takes a letter-high fastball, strike call. Many times a pitcher will be disconcerted by that runner coming down the line. If he has his hand in the glove, it's easy to balk out of that motion, and the A's have gotten a lot of cheap runs that way. Koosman's going at the A's with hard stuff. It's 1 ball, 1 strike to Gene Tennis.
You got to step off the rubber before you break those hands apart, Monty.
Almost any kind of a move with the hands or shoulders on that rubber is a balk. It's outside, ball 2.
The A's are wondering when Jackson and Tennis are going to break through. They've not had an RBI in 6 consecutive games in the playoffs in the World Series. Hitting number 4 and 5 in the lineup.
Koosman showing his foot action. There's a slider wrapped right around his wrist. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count with 2 down. The Mets give Tennis the same hole in right center they gave Bando. Jerry wants the sign over again. Fouled it off. You notice Oakland pitchers in this situation don't take their sign with their pitching hand on the ball in front of them as Koosman does. They're mostly coached to take the sign with the ball and the pitching hand in separate ways. Staying inside the Tennis, it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Sal Bando at third. The A's lead 1-0 first inning. Missed inside. Looks like he threw a slider then on 3-2. That brings up Jesus Alou. Picked up on the same day in August as Vic Davalillo was from National League clubs by A's owner Charlie Finley to shore up a bench, and those 2 men have been of immeasurable help. As you can see, Alou has hit well for Oakland, .306, and he had big hits in the Baltimore series just completed. Felipe Alou was the first of the Alou brothers to play with Oakland. He was here 2 years ago, and then last year Matty, and this year Jesus. Base hit down into the corner, and Bando scores. Gene Tennis rounding third, and he's going to be stopped. It is 2-0 Oakland. Jesus Alou ripped one right inside the bag.
What we've seen him in the playoffs yesterday and today, he is really swinging a groove bat right now. He's hot.
Jesus Alou, one of the best first ball hitters I know of. Anything around the place, he's at it. Let's look at Wayne Garrett again on the replay. He was playing not a deep third base, almost even with a bag. Ball it very sharply, driving in a run.
If the Mets left-hand pitchers continue throwing Oakland batters inside as they did yesterday, and right there, Garrett may be having to get a little closer to that foul line. Kenny Holtzman hit one right by him on the right side yesterday.
That's Ray Sadecki warming up now in the Met bullpen. The veteran Ray Sadecki.
Yogi Berra looks out of the Met dugout. Dick Williams studying the scene from the Oakland A's dugout. That's Bert Campaneris in the picture with Dick. Ray Fosse, who did an outstanding job for Oakland this year. They're coming to them in spring training in a trade with the Cleveland Indians. That's a ball. A hit here could pick up 2 more runs. The Met outfielders are playing deep for Fosse. That's Alou, who's never still, no matter where he is. The batter's box on the bases, always doing calisthenics. Tennis down that line at third, as you could see. Wow, that pitch just missed inside. They had started Fosse off outside with a running fastball, and then he brought the fast one right back in on him. It's 2-0 now. They're going to walk him with Dick Green coming up. They're going to go ahead and walk Fosse and pitch to Dick Green.
It's the way Kuzman's been pitching might be a little bit dangerous. He has not been getting ahead of the hitters in this inning.
Dick Green will come to the plate with the bases loaded, and it is Major League career. Dick Green has hit 4 Grand Slam home runs. He had one this year to win a game against the California Angels.
He didn't have to get a hit yesterday. Played a brilliant defensive game for the A's.
Jackpot is loaded here for Dick Green of Rapid City, South Dakota. He looks at a letter-high fastball, strike 1.
Retired once, didn't he, Monty?
Yes, he did. He's retired once and threatened too many times. He had a year or two when he did not hit well and did not get to play regularly, and last year, as a matter of fact, he had a back operation, a disc removed early in the season, and came back and played in the World Series for Oakland. He's had a super year this year. Fouled it away, and Kuzman is ahead of him, and no balls, 2 strikes. The Mets are not playing the batter's percentage here necessarily because the hitters, as you look at the bases, are full of Oakland A's. The 2 hitters, Fosse and Green, have about the same averages in RBIs. They just want to try to have a force play anywhere. Struck him out on a good hammer, up and in. And the Oakland A's scored 2 runs in the first inning on 3 hits and leave 3 on to score 2-0 Oakland.
The bull, symbol of strength and confidence. Today, signature of a company, Merrill Lynch. Total assets, $3.6 billion. Net worth, $449 million. Securities held for customers, over $20 billion worth. Merrill Lynch, strong, solid, substantial, developing new investment ideas. Merrill Lynch, 29 ways to help you share in America's growth.
Want thousands of surefire lights? Get Cricket, the disposable butane lighter by Gillette. It's reliable and it lasts for months. Cricket, Gillette makes it work.
I got a date, and I can't find my razor. Cool it. I'll give you my Track 2 razor. 2 blades? Does it really work? Where you been? It's fabulous. What's so fabulous? It's simple. As the first blade shaves the whisker, it lifts it out. So the second blade can shave it again, closer. And both blades are recessed, so it's safer. I can't believe it. It's clean, and it hardly feels like I shaved. This Track 2 is some piece of work. I mean, like, this really is a razor.
The Gillette Track 2 shaving system. It's the closest thing to a perfect shave.
Goodbye, whiskers. Hello, girls. Oh, no.
There's the commissioner's box. Henry Aaron back again today, seated alongside Commissioner Kuhn. Right back of Henry Aaron's the sports director, vice president of sports, Carl Lindemann, with the dark glasses on, and Mrs. Kuhn watching the game. Buffalo beat Baltimore today in the NFL 31-13. The Jets 9, New England 7, Cincinnati 19, Pittsburgh 7. Atlanta finally coming through 46-6 over the Bears. The Redskins defeated the New York Giants 21-3. New Orleans 20, Detroit 13. All finals, Monty.
Here's Cleon Jones. And he hits the ball deep to right field. Jesus Alou is back, and he can't get it. That was right out of here. Cleon Jones hit one right down the line in right field with good power on it, and it's a 2-1 ball game. The high fastball ball to the outside, and all A's scouting reports have talked about his power the opposite way.
Jones is going to be a problem for the A's, evidently. Yesterday, he had a double and a single.
Here's John Milner. Ground ball hit sharply to Dick Drain. And there's one away.
Monty, has Vida's pitching pattern this year been what we saw of him in that championship series? He had great stuff for 6 innings, and he came out in the, I guess it was the 6th, and he just lost it. Does he have his ups and downs that way?
No, as a matter of fact, he's been having very good staying power, Tony, and he has pitched a lot differently, though. He went after Baltimore those first 6 innings with almost exclusively fastballs, and a lot this year he has gone to the breaking ball, a lot more than ever before. But that day, he just went back and with everything he had through every pitch. Here's Jerry Grody. Little looper out behind Dick Green. Turns around. He's in the right spot to watch it come down. He picks it off. They're 2 away. Vida finished the season by winning his last 5 regular season games, and in 4 of those 5 did not allow a run.
The Mets here in the 2nd are going after that first pitch. 3 batters in a row have swung at the first pitch.
Here's Don Hahn playing center field today. Vida hit him right on the fist, broke a bat. Gene Tennis will take it himself. So it's after Jones homer, 3 in a row go up and down, and the score is the Oakland A's 2, the New York Mets 1.
And now, Uni Royale will attempt a death-defying leap through a flaming hoop. Okay, light it and get out of the way. There they go, ladies and gentlemen. Will they make it? Those ramps are 40 feet apart, 3,000 pounds hurtling through space. What precision! They made it!
How many times have we gone through this routine, Uni?
I don't know, Al.
But we always make it. Uh-huh.
We use Uniroyal steel-belted radial tires.
We don't want to push our luck.
At Holiday Inn, kids under 12 stay free in their parents' room. And that's made family travel a lot easier. We have good restaurants, televisions, reasonable rates, and much, much more. So this vacation, let Holiday Inn help you show your children the world. Because a world like this really has to be seen to be believed. Holiday Inn, the most accommodating people in the world.
Well, we'll have Game 3 of the World Series Tuesday night at Shea Stadium. Tom Seaver against Jim Hunter. Wednesday night, Thursday if necessary, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time on NBC, the Baseball World with Joe Garagiola, and then the World Series game. Vida Blue getting a hand as he opens it up for the A's in the last of the 2nd.
This will be Vida Blue's 2nd at-bat of 1973. His lifetime average in the American League is .098. Strike call. Averages like that by pitchers. One reason the designated hitter rule was instituted. And with great success this year in the American League as far as livening up the offense. Strike 2 to Vida. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Vida down on a breaking ball. He got 3 looks at Kuzman. And there's 1 away in inning number 2. Back to the top of the batting order for Bert Campaneris. Kuzman now has struck out 3 Oakland A's, and the biggest strikeout he had was a survival strikeout, you might say. With the bases loaded, he got Dick Green to end the 1st inning. They play Campy tight at the corners. At 3rd and 1st, they are both in on the grass. 2-1. Campaneris bunts for base hits once in a while, and ordinarily it's the first base side when he does. He had a good cut at that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think his play yesterday of bunting the ball down the first base line and sliding under the first baseman, trying to put a tag on him 20 feet away from the bag and getting up and going on was one of the most exciting plays of the day. Strike call. Rudy wants this pitch inside. Campy fouls it away into the seats over behind the Mets dugout.
That bunny beat out yesterday. He's now had a hit 5 playoff games in a row, the opening game of the World Series, a 6-game batting streak in World Series and playoff action.
It's a 2-1 game. Oakland is leading right here. Drive into right center field. Rusty Staub is not going to be able to get to it. Watch Campaneris go. He can really motor. He's already around second. And he's in at third base standing up with a triple.
And you may have noticed on the play that Rusty Staub gave way to his center fielder, Don Hahn, to make the long throw to the cutoff man. Watch Bert again on this replay on the triple to right center field, and watch him cut the bases. Looking over his shoulder, not relying on a coach at all. That's what the great base runners do. They need no help.
Boy, he takes those little short, choppy steps.
I believe we're going to get action again in the Met bullpen. Ray Sadecki, warming up earlier, has just moved to the mound once more.
And once again, the Mets bring their infield in with 1 out and a strong hitter at the plate in Joe Rudy. Rudy hit a sun-fly double in the first inning that fell just out of the sight of Jones in left field. That opened the gates for a 2-run inning. Kuzman went after him with a slider high and inside.
A's are going for the extra base hits today, Monty. They've now had 2 triples, 2 doubles.
And 2 of the triples were in the same area, right center field. Kuzman is pitching off the stretch here to keep Campaneris as close as he can. He has his infield in. Misses inside. It's 1-1, and you notice the scouting reports really come into effect in these clutch situations. Twice he's gone at Rudy here with inside pitches. Campaneris down off third. That's Irv Noren, the coach, very close to him. And from the left field foul line, you look right down towards home plate. Ooh, Kuzman threw a high outside fastball, and Rudy jumped after it. Jerry Kuzman ahead of the batter at a ball and 2 strikes. Base hit right up the middle, and that's with the infield drawn in. A base hit. It would not have been otherwise. And the A's now have a chance to do some more damage. It is 3-1 Oakland on Joe Rudy's second base hit of the day.
There's an old saying in baseball, when you draw the infield in, a 300 hitter can become a 400 hitter. Those infielders don't have the time to range to their left or right. You slap a ground ball, it goes through.
I think it's the total respect these 2 managers have for the others' pitching staffs that would cause them to do that this early. Here's Sal Bando. Inside to Bando, ball 1. Joe Rudy and Sal Bando carried the A's offensively the last 2-3 weeks of the season. Reggie Jackson slumping and injured, and Darren Johnson, the designated hitter who had the big year, really having a terrible slump after getting a bone chip in his thumb. Count 2 balls, no strikes. There's Reggie Jackson on deck. That propeller-like affair on the end of the bat, a wind resistor. Change-up. Bando, ordinarily a very good off-speed pitch hitter, was right on that pitch and missed it.
They changed up on him yesterday a few times, too, Monty. There's Williams.
And the other side of the coin, Yogi Berra looks on. He did it again. 3 balls and a strike to Sal Bando. Tough hitter to get behind. Bando, a product of that great baseball school, Arizona State University. They produced 4 of the Oakland A's, Reggie Jackson and Sal Bando and Rick Monday. There goes Rudy, and the pitch is missed. They ought to get him at second. Great throw by Grote to Millan as Bando missed on a hit-and-run play.
Watch Joe Rudy all alone on the 3-1 pitch. Bando may have given him a signal as he looks over his shoulder to make sure that Bando did not pop the ball up or hit it in foul territory. From another angle, Rudy coming in, being tagged by Felix Millan, and we told you we were going to see some good catching. We have so far in this series.
Jerry Kuzman just wraps a hard slider around Sal Bando at the knees, and the A's get 1 run in the second inning on 2 hits. Nobody left to score. 3-1 Oakland.
The Chrysler has always been designed to provide a special kind of comfort for driver and passenger. Today, that tradition continues. In the 1974 Chrysler New Yorker, in the comfort of knowing it's an automobile advanced in engineering. In the comfort of knowing there's an electronic ignition system, virtually maintenance-free. In the comfort of knowing the passenger compartment may be optionally cooled from 8 separate outlets. And in the comfort of knowing this is designed to be the quietest, most beautiful Chrysler ever built. The Chrysler has always been designed to provide a special kind of comfort for driver and passenger. 1974 Chrysler New Yorker, a totally new expression of an idea that has never changed.
How good is your credit card in a foreign country?
My American Express card is as good in Mexico City as it is in Pasadena, California.
I use my American Express card here in Mexico to go Christmas shopping.
In my honeymoon, my wife, myself, and my American Express card chartered a little airplane and flew over to south of Mexico.
I'm sure Jonathan will have to have an American Express card when he grows up.
Call 800-AE8-5000 to apply for an American Express card.
Bud Harrelson, the Mets shortstop, against Vida Blue, and the first pitch from Vida in the third inning is outside for ball 1. Harrelson chokes up on the bat, and it looks as if to make sure that he does that, he has a rubber donut up the handle a little ways. Vida missed inside. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
Keeps that bat from sliding down, or his hands from sliding down in the bat.
Well, these players create ways to get a good grip. Bud does not use a glove, a batting glove. He was taking all the way. He's holding the bat up around the brand on that one. Looks as if he doesn't use any pine tar on the bat either. Harrelson, after a low inside Vida Blue fastball, fouled it off. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The score here is Oakland 3 and New York 1 in Game 2, the 1973 World Series. Well, that one took off. Ball 3. On deck, the Met pitcher, Kuzman. Sadecki has come down into the Mets dugout with a jacket on. Whether they would pinch hit for Kuzman here might depend upon what Harrelson does. Strike 3 called. Vida hit the outside corner with a fastball.
Monty Kurt, before the ballgame, we talked to A's catcher Ray Fosse, talking about the pitching style of Vida Blue. Let's listen.
Tony, Vida is a fastball pitcher. He's come up with a good breaking ball to go along with his fastball and changeup. So you can look mainly just to see the good smoke, the good fastball, and hopefully he can keep the ball down.
Now the Mets pitcher, Jerry Kuzman. Lifetime National League batting average, 0.88, about the same as Vida's. He's hit 1 home run in his career, and so has Vida. And Kuzman fouls off the first pitch at strike 1. We've had a sort of a phrase coined around Oakland the last couple of years. The A's don't win them easy, and the A's don't lose them easy. And in 7 of the last 8 World Series games in which the A's have played, the game has been decided by 1 run. It's fairly typical of the season Oakland had. Bando cuts in front of Campaneris with a lot of time. He throws him out. The only game that Oakland has played in the World Series in the last 2 years that was not decided by 1 run was game number 6 last year, and Cincinnati clobbered Oakland 8-1. Many felt that that game in Cincinnati would completely demoralize the A's, but they showed a great ability to come back as they did in Game 5 of the playoffs last year, Game 5 of the playoffs this year. Leadoff man Wayne Garrett takes a strike. Leon on deck. And Vida Blue, very intense young man today before this game. There's his slurve. That's the pitch that he calls a slurve. It's between a slider and a curve, just a hard curveball is what it is, and that's the big thing they tried to get him to do, Tony.
This is the pitch that Johnny Sain, one of the top pitching coaches in baseball, teaches over in the American League. He calls it a fast curve. Breaks more than a slider, not as much as a curve, a little bit downward action.
Pitch outside. Vida's curveball that he threw last year was one that was just thrown too slow. It gave the batter too much time to adjust and hit it. So Wes Stock, the A's pitching coach, got him to increase the tempo a little bit. Here's a long drive to right field. That was a hanging breaking ball, and it is way out of here. Garrett puts a run up on the board for the Mets with a long home run.
And Garrett finally broke out of it. He hit 16 home runs during the season. He's a real threat for an infielder. That's his first homer in the playoffs of World Series, and just his second RBI.
Let's watch Garrett swing once again. He appears to have opened up his stance a little bit more today than yesterday. That right foot off the ground timing the pitch, and he sure did hang it inside about belt high. He's not a big man, but he's got good, compact, powerful swing.
Blue made that mistake against Echeverria. Home runs are hurting him.
He had just made a tremendous pitch to Garrett. The pitch before out away from him. Here's Beyond taking a strike on the knees. So it's a 3-2 ball game.
Remember Fosse's interview Tony had with him? He said, hopefully you'll keep the ball down.
Little number foul. Pitchers try to make 2 good pitches in a row. You know, Vida didn't try to hang that ball in there. He had just made a super pitch and really made Garrett look pretty bad. Ball really carries down the line here at the Coliseum in day games, and what little wind there is blowing towards right, that needed no help at all. That would have gone out against the wind. Bando right near the bag at third. Goes to tennis, and that's all for the Mets here in the third. They got another run. And in the middle of the third inning, the score is the Oakland A's 3, the New York Mets 2.
You booked one airline into Kennedy, ended up on another. The car you rented is back at the terminal building you were originally going to. That's a 2-mile walk. Now what?
Relax. Only the Wizard of Avis can trace and transfer your reservation in a matter of seconds. The Wizard of Avis, a good friend in a tight situation. Get a Wizard number. It's free.
Right now, it's Party Pleaser Month here at your nearby Kentucky Fried Chicken store. So come on and have a party with my good hot Kentucky Fried Chicken and fixins.
Get a bucket of chicken, lickin' good. Have a barrel of fun, make it a party. Get a Kentucky Fried Chicken party, everyone. America loves what the Colonel calls a good time, party time, barrel of fun.
With Reggie Jackson leading off for the A's, let's listen to his comments about his late season slump.
Well, Tony, you know, I haven't been hitting, and the thing you want to do if you're playing on a winning ball club is be a part of it. And if you're not hitting the ball that well, then you've got to either run the bases well or throw well or make a catch or do something to help the ball club.
Jerry Kuzman just said hello, Reggie, with a duster right under his shins.
Reggie made that catch yesterday in the ball game that he mentioned. He was a little bit modest. It was a game-saving catch, I think, in left center field.
It's part of the Dick Williams philosophy that Dick was able to impart to Reggie Jackson when he came here as manager 3 years ago. He said, look, Reggie, there are going to be days when you don't hit the ball. You're going to strike out a lot, but you have abilities to do a lot of other things to help the club. Strike call, it is 1-1. Mets have hit 2 home runs here today. Cleon Jones and Wayne Garrett, and Jackson just had his home run cut right then. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's hit 2 of the longest home runs I've ever seen. Tony and I saw him hit that 500-foot shot, Minneapolis, the top of the scoreboard, and then the home run up on the roof, the light girders in Detroit in the All-Star game. 2 of the longest I've ever seen.
Harrelson playing him perfectly. Gets it right behind the bag at second and throws Reggie Jackson out. Reggie has, of course, the tape measure distance record for home runs here in this ballpark. The longest one he ever hit landed in the right field bleachers on the very top row. It was a night where that row was not filled, and it hit right on the seat, the back row of the bleachers. Here's Gene Tennis. Curve is high. There have been only 4 balls hit into the second deck at this ballpark, and Reggie Jackson has hit 2 of those. Dick Green 1, and Bobby Darwin of Minnesota the other. Of course, Greens and Darwins went to left in the second deck. Slow curve drops in there. It's a strike called 1-1. Last year at this time, Gene Tennis, the toast to the nation with his 2 home runs the first 2 times up against the Cincinnati Reds. You know, Kurt, he's been a very valuable man to the A's. Let's take a look at this.
Take a look from that handheld camera behind left fielder Cleon Jones. Some of the problems with his son. He's had trouble with a couple of balls. Rudy did one yesterday. You can try, if you have time, to surround the ball, get an angle away from the sun, or as I think he's doing now, he's playing a little bit out of position, trying to run away from the sun or look away from the sun.
Count runs to 3 balls, 2 strikes on Gene Tennis, who got a walk in the first inning. That's the shot from left field to give you an idea of the haze, and it is a hazy day here. Ball 4. Gene Tennis, who led the A's in receiving bases on balls for the season with 101, has just walked for the second time today.
I had 10 Californians tell me today it's a haze, not a smog.
In Northern California, that's right. Northern Californians call it a haze. They call that one in Los Angeles the smog. The group of hills right behind this ballpark called the Oakland Hills, and ordinarily they're very, very visible, but today they're almost obliterated. Jesus Salou. Ordinarily, you could see the hills. You can see the houses up on the hills out there. Ordinarily, it's a beautiful sight from the ballpark. Today, it's out of sight. Pick-off attempt. They almost got Tennis leaning the wrong way. Ray Sadecki is throwing again in the Met bullpen. Score 3-2, Oakland leading.
There he goes to that bat again.
He drops the bat behind him. He'll flip it sometimes and catch it.
What did he do one game in the championship series? He looked like he pulled a little flag out of his pocket and dusted the plate off to distract the pitcher.
Voodoo, I think.
Yeah.
Base hit, right field. Rusty Staub with the ball, and he just flips it back in there, but he got it in a hurry.
And he charged that ball to be sure to take it on his first hop to save time with his sore shoulder. He normally might have let that ball come to him on the second hop.
Watch Lou in his batting style. He jumps on many pitches, and look at that left front foot as he kicks it in the strike zone. He's got a magic wand. They should nickname him Mandrake, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you, he had his head down on that ball, Tony. He really took a good swing, powerful. In some areas, they might call what he does hot dog. In Oakland, we call it color.
He's a good hitter.
Well, the A's getting valuable help going to the other league last year for Matty Louie's brother. This year for Davalillo and for Jesus. Picking up veteran players to help in the stretch and paying quite a bit of money for them.
Here's Ray Fosse. Fosse walked his first time up intentionally. The A's have had something going in every inning so far off Kuzman. They have 6 hits. Check swing bouncer. Back to Kuzman. They go to second, and a bad throw pulls him off the bag.
Jerry Kuzman never had complete possession of the ball. Pitchers wear bigger glove so they can hide the ball from the hitters and those coaches. And many times they have trouble getting the ball out of the glove. Watch it again. Fosse distracted by Mian on the pitch before that. Now let's look at it. Little chopper. He made a good pitch down low in the strikes, and watch him bobble it. Doesn't have possession. The ball moves away from Mian, and now they're in trouble. Here it is again.
That's like a basketball player, Tony, trying to shoot without really good control of the ball.
Curtis Felix may have saved a run on that play. Had that ball gone into center field, it could have been first and third or second and third and another run home.
See what Berra's going to do now. He's bringing Sadecki on. That's all for Koosman. I think Berra also had the thinking that that wide throw might upset Koosman. So we have a break in the action here at Oakland. The score in the last of the third is Oakland 3, New York 2.
Atlas, the tour's here.
Look at
Wow!
Oh, my.
Okay, take us up. Atlas stands for tires built with the strength of Atlas. What deep tread. Built strong for long mileage.
Why all these grooves?
Good traction on wet roads. That's a tough tire. Tough to help protect you against road hazards. Where do I buy them? At 45,000 leading service stations. Atlas tires. All built with the strength of Atlas.
Take me out to the paint sale.
It's the World Series of paint sales, now at participating Lucite retailer. There are Grand Slam savings on DuPont Lucite wall paint and Lucite house paint. And just for dropping in, a special coupon that brings you a souvenir ball with the name of the series winner for just $1. So have a ball at the Lucite sale.
It's a great paint sale.
Polaroid's new SX70. Just touch the button. Now these pictures, developing themselves outside the camera, are hard and dry. Minutes later, you have finished photographs seemingly as real as life itself. The new SX70 land camera from Polaroid.
More final scores from the NFL. Denver defeated Houston 48-20. New Orleans 20, the Lions 13, the Eagles 27, the Cardinals 24. Green Bay and Kansas City played to a 10-10 tie. And now back to action here. World Series game number 2, Ray Sadecki.
Sadecki pitching to Dick Green for the second time in the game. Green is batting with the bases loaded. Sadecki's slow curveball is inside. Sadecki is pitching in his third World Series game. He started twice for St. Louis in the 1964 series, winning one of those games. This year for the Mets, he won 5 and lost 4, had 1 save. He appeared in 31 games. Mets have their corners first and third base in. Rest of the infield's back in double play depth. Threw that one by him. Had him pretty well set up with the fastball. He had thrown a slow curve inside, missing. Ball 1.
The Mets have Harry Parker now warming up in their bullpen, Monty, a right-hander. Harry Parker.
They're at the bottom part of the A's batting order, so this is a big out right here. If he can get Dick Green without a run scoring, he'll pitch to Vida Blue. Squeeze play is on, and Green misses the bunt on a curve, and Tennis is hung up. Garrett dropped the ball. Now the other runners are able to move up to second and third base.
John Milner made the tag. Came in from first, Milner.
And if not for the dropping of the ball, there would have been just 1 minute scoring position. Let's watch it again. A breaking ball down and in that Green could not get his bat on. Tennis hung up. Now watch this. Just by dropping the ball here at third base, Wayne Garrett allows Alou to go into third. Fosse to go into second. He did his job staying in a rundown long enough to advance those runners.
And now Yogi's got a decision to make whether to pitch to Dick Green with a 1-2 count or walk him and pitch to Vida Blue for that third out.
The A's have had a hit-and-run backfire on them and now a squeeze backfire. 2 men have been cut down.
He's going to pitch to him. Carefully, I hope.
Got a count of 1-2 on him. Ooh, strike 3 call. Dick Green is out on a curveball. I'm not sure whether they call it a swing or a take, but anyway, he's out. So in the third inning, no runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 2 men left, and the score after 3 innings is 3-2 Oakland.
Nobody wants to look at underarm stains, but they're a real problem. You use an antiperspirant and you still get stains. Stains that won't wash up. Well, now there's a new antiperspirant. The first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard. A new powder so effective, it helps stop wetness and stains. See for yourself. New Right Guard Powder Dry Antiperspirant. It's the first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard.
Foamy, 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 how we love ya, how we love ya.
Good, thick, rich.
Foamy, it's thick and rich as frosting on cake. It shaves you close, smooth, shaves you close and smooth and even foamy. You're the greatest shave I ever.
Good, thick, rich.
Foamy, as soft a shave as you'll ever get. Comes with Foamy by Gillette.
Top half of the fourth inning coming up, and Kurt, that could very well have been a big turnaround inning for the New York Mets to survive a crisis like that.
They've only had 2 hits, but 2 home runs. They were faced with that bases-loaded situation, 1 out. The squeeze backfired, so the Mets stay close. Very big defensive inning for them.
Rusty Staub will lead off against Vida Blue. Vida's thrown home runs to Cleon Jones and Wayne Garrett. Kuzman pitches 2 1/3 innings today, charged with 3 runs and 6 hits. Vida's first pitch is away from Rusty Staub for ball 1. Strike call. Boy, this game has some action in it today. Action by the managers, by the hitters. Fastball too high.
You know, he's been around, Staub, at Houston, Montreal with the Mets. This is his first playoff and first World Series. That he feels like a young kid here. He's so thrilled to be participating finally in postseason.
Fly ball to left field. Joe Rudy is chasing it down, and he has sunshade zeroed in. He's looking away from the sun a little bit there, but it still was a glare.
I don't know if you could see him hold up right at the second and not get completely under it. He wanted to retain that angle, looking away from the sun. So he timed the catch. Watch him again and see if we can pick it up. The sun glaring in his glasses. Now he wants to stay at that angle and not face directly into the sun. There he goes after it. What a battle.
Don't you remember the difficulty Norm Seaburn had in left field on the club you played in the World Series?
Oh, I sure do.
You think this left field is worse than Yankee Stadium?
Never played this left field. If this is worse, it's awful.
Cleon Jones, who hit a home run off Vida down the right field line his first time up, gets a fastball up and in on him that time, and he missed it.
You don't have the shadows here that you had at Yankee Stadium.
Pitch a little high, 1 ball, 1 strike. The score 3-2. The A's over the New York Mets. Oakland won yesterday's ball game 2-1. Series moves back to Shea Stadium in New York on Tuesday night. Driving to left center. Reggie Jackson over and in and traps the ball. Jones will hold up at first base. Jackson playing pretty deep. And that ball was sinking going into center field.
Look at it again. Jackson circling around the ball a little bit. I don't think there's a sun problem in center field, although he has his glasses down. Now from another angle, Jackson, who played his first game this year in center field yesterday, battling it, preventing it from getting by him by staying in front. And Jones has got a pretty hot bat. This Mets team looks aggressive with the bats, Monty.
They must have been aggressive for the past month. And the A's are not that surprised. Here is Milner, their leading home run man for the year with 23. Vida starts him off with a fastball right down the chute.
Jones hit hard in the playoffs and is continuing right into the World Series.
Mets have 3 hits. Jones has 2 of them. John Milner. right play on that ball and didn't take any chances. He shot it on over there. Milner really got jammed on the pitch and hit it off to the left side. And for a left-handed full hitter, it's amazing Bando got to it.
Russ Getz of the American League at third base. Bando, not being able to hear the call that it was foul, makes the play anyway.
Base umpires go into action after a ball passes the bag, first or third. Up until that time, the home plate umpire calls fair or foul. Foul ball. No balls, 2 strikes. Vida's up a little bit right now again.
Something that his catcher earlier in the ball game told us he does not want Vida to do. He wants him to keep that ball down.
He's throwing strikes. He hasn't walked anybody today. There's the curveball, and it's fouled away. And he had Milner reaching for it. He had Garrett reaching for one in the 3rd inning, but then tried another one and left it right where Garrett loved it. Gene Tennis holding against Cleon Jones at first. Drive to right field. Jesus Salou. Right there. Puts it away, and they're 2 out. You know, the Mets hit the ball hard all day yesterday, Kurt, and didn't get much for it. Today, they're hitting it hard again.
Bill Rigney had a good expression. They had dumb bats.
Yeah.
Hit the ball right at somebody. But they're making contact, both clubs today, better than they did yesterday.
Jerry Grody, who just missed a 2-run home run yesterday, popped to second in the 2nd inning of this game today. It's 3-2, Oakland over New York. 4th inning. Jones bluffing a start off first, didn't go anywhere. Vida misses low, ball 1. Cleon Jones stole 1 base this year.
Mets just don't run much. They don't have outstanding team speed. They'll put the hit and run on.
Garrett led the Mets in steals with 6. Vida's 2-0 on Grody now, and he doesn't like to be behind a hitter with this kind of power.
Campanera stole more bases than the entire Met team.
Reggie Jackson has been playing short in center field and over toward right center. I'm wondering now, with a 2-ball, no-strike count, he's going to shade a little bit more toward left center. That pitcher gets behind the hitter. The hitter looks for that pitch inside, tries to pull the ball more.
He pulled that one. Bando can't come up with the ball. No play anywhere. A short hopper to Sal Bando going to his left.
But Sal, again, usually very reliable on balls such as this. Gets a short hop, which is not a difficult hop to catch. Couldn't smother it, though, and the ball bounds away.
This is the first real bad fielding play the A's have made. Except a high throw from Jackson that missed the cutoff man. But I mean handling the ball.
Here's Don Hahn, the center fielder, with 2 runners on. Ball 1. Ray Fosse holding the ball up, and what he's doing is signaling to Vida that he's dropping down a little bit. Get back up on top. When Vida comes sidearm, the ball tends to flatten out. When he stays on top, it really moves. Sliced off foul.
Fosse does a good job handling these pitchers, Monty, doesn't he?
He does, and he's had a hard time early in the season, Kurt, because he had never really called very many pitches. He said in Cleveland, when Alvin Dark was the manager, Alvin called almost all the pitches from the dugout. So he didn't really have all that much trouble. There's Mary Barry, one of the A's ball girls. But Ray came over here and was given the job of calling the pitches, and the veteran pitchers on the staff have helped him out. But he really handles them now. Drive to right field. Jesus Salou has got it. And another Met line drive is caught. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 2 left in the score in the middle of the 4th inning, 3-2 Oakland.
In the last 3 years, over 250,000 people switched from other makes.
With the Pirates and very close friends for 10 years. He had deep compassion for his fellow man. He loved young people. His goal was to build a youth city in Puerto Rico. He was always ready to help the less fortunate, and he gave his life for that cause. Baseball is proud of Roberto Clemente. We should help fulfill his dream and build a youth city in Puerto Rico.
Preceding announcement was made on behalf of Major League Baseball. On the left, President of the American League, Joe Cronin. On the right, the President of the National League, Chip Feeney. Bud Harrelson hits a fly ball to short center, and Reggie Jackson is playing him right there and had trouble with the sun himself. One out on one pitch, and the Mets are going to pinch hit now with George Theodore, 6'4" 190-pound infielder.
He has one of the oddest physiques of major league players, as the two league presidents watch. George Theodore is quite an athlete at the University of Utah, majored in psychology. He's a brilliant student, and they call him the Stork. Where they get up and see him move around. Very, very tall man, gangly, very bright.
I could hardly believe it, Kurt, when you told me he was a second baseman. So I'm walking around here in batting practice the first day.
Look at him. Stimulating man to talk to.
Vida Blue with one out in the fifth inning and a one-run lead. Ball went right in and out of the mid of Ray Fosse.
He had negotiated his contract one year with Bob Sheffing. Sent him a poem. Said if Sheffing could identify it, he would sign for the Mets contract. Sheffing couldn't, so they gave in to him, and that's how he got a raise.
1 ball and no strikes. High for ball 2. At one time, he was considered to be one of the Mets' leading power hitters in the minor leagues. Strike called. Hey, he's got a good strike zone, 6 feet 4 inches tall. Vida shouldn't have trouble hitting it.
Monty, he was one of the Mets this year who was involved in a serious injury, one that almost ended his career. In a collision, he dislocated a hip. They were worried about him.
Good swing, and he fouled it back. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's a bad injury. Lynn Dickey, the quarterback of the Houston Oilers, had that injury. It's a terrible injury for an athlete.
Someone has to write a book, and there are usually 15 men write books about the Mets in successful years. Somebody's got to write one whole book about their injuries. Over the mound it goes to Campaneris behind second. And he guns it to tennis, and the pinch hitter Theodore is out number 2 in the 5th inning.
Monty, the Mets this year had 8 fractures to members of their lineup, and they were key injuries. Here's Bert Campaneris, who's turned out to be one of the fine shortstops in baseball. At one time, he wasn't considered very sure-handed, not having much range, but he's overcome all those problems, and he can really go get them now. An exciting player.
Impressive thing to me about Campaneris and Harrelson, who both are small men, slight of stature, they both have powerful throwing arms.
Outstanding. As a matter of fact, Kurt, Campaneris reported to the Oakland A's training camp his first year out of Cuba as a 135-pound catcher. You can believe that. And they took one look at him and didn't even have any catcher's gear that would fit him. The chest protectors, which had the old drop part that time, hit the ground. There's Yogi Berra in a very studious look, if he has those.
The thinker.
Here's Wayne Garrett. Vida starts him off with a high fastball. Show Campaneris' versatility. He's also ambidextrous. He pitched in a ball game in the minor leagues, both left and right-handed. Garrett takes ball 2. In the bullpen, Harry Parker of the Mets, who will come on in the place of Ray Sadecki, who did an outstanding job. In an inning and a third, he struck out 3 batters. Vida's not throwing him any curveballs this time.
Looks like he's throwing a little bit harder fastball, though. He's letting it loose now.
Two balls, 1 strike to count. Oakland is leading 3-2. 2 out, 5th inning on deck. Leon. Ball 3. Hard to tell sometimes. That might have been a breaking ball that got away. Sometimes his fastball will run off that way, but not very often. He walked him. That's the first walk of the ball game that Vida's given up. Garrett earned that walk with the respect he manufactured by hitting that home run. Felix Millan will come up for the Mets now. He is struck out and grounded to third. The Oakland bullpen is stirring around a little bit. And they are going to go to work. The right-hander Horacio Pena and the left-hander Darrell Knowles. Garrett has a pretty good lead on Vida. Takes low, ball one, Millan. See Posse holding that ball up and then walking right in behind the right-hand batter to throw it back to the pitcher. Telling Vida to get on top. Breaking ball, strike call. Millan, one of the toughest strikeouts in all of baseball. You can see why. He just wants to make contact. Skipper Dick Williams, in his third year with the A's. Yogi doesn't seem to be too worried. Campaneris will go the short route for the third out. A forced play at second to Dick Green. In the middle of the ball game, the score is the A's 3 and the New York Mets 2.
Bartender Jim Quinn, Wethead. Bartender Jim Quinn, the dry look. Chemist Wayne Schwartzman, Wethead. Chemist Wayne Schwartzman, the dry look. Contractor Tom Spencer, Wethead. Contractor Tom Spencer, the dry look.
The dry look from Gillette. #1 aerosol hair control. Adjustable valve, sprays as light as you like. Find out how much better it can make you look. The difference will surprise you.
Mayor Henry Clifford, Wethead. Mayor Henry Clifford, the dry look.
The dry look from Gillette.
Name?
Jerry West.
Occupation?
Playing ball.
Shave?
Double edge. Once I learn something, I stay with it.
Blade?
Gillette. What else?
Nearly half the guys in this country are double-edge men. Gillette's kind of men. From super stainless to longer-lasting Platinum Plus, Jerry West is just one of them. Gillette, we made the first blade, and we're still the first blade.
Well, we're ready for the last half of the ball game, and as we said last year at about this time of the World Series, one of the great pleasures in getting into a World Series with the ball club is being able to work with the great NBC television sports crew, headed by Kurt Gowdy, and here he is for the last half of the game. Kurt?
What's your name?
Who is that guy?
I thought he was going to say me.
He told me not to upstage him again, but here he is. We have to do it. Kurt, let's go.
Thanks, Monty. All right, here we are now. Last of the fifth inning. Bando, Jackson, and Tennis, the heart of the A's batting order, facing right-hander Harry Parker. 26 years old. Lives in Collinsville, Illinois. And the delivery's ball one. To Bando, who tripled to right center to knock in a run and struck out. There's his record. 8 wins, 4 losses, 3.34 earned run average. He was a dependable man in that Met bullpen this year. He attends the University of Illinois in the offseason, majoring in math. So he can compute his own earned run average. 2 balls, no strikes. Bando pops it up. That wide area outside third up in the sun. Garrett squeezes it out, #1. Now Parker and Grody get together. Reggie Jackson has struck out, grounded out. Ray Sadecki pitched an inning and a third of relief, struck out 3 of the 4 men he faced. If you joined us late, Jerry Kuzma was the starter. He went 2 1/3 innings, allowed 6 hits, 3 runs. The A's had 2 runs in the first, a run in the second. The Mets had a leadoff homer by Cleon Jones in the second, and a home run by Wayne Garrett in the third. And that's the scoring in a 3-2 game with Oakland ahead. Reggie Jackson finally looking at a right-hander. Ball 1 to him. Jackson hitless yesterday, hitless twice today, and in the playoffs, 3 out of 21. He's not knocked in a run now in 7 postseason games. A strike to him, 1-1, and he was the RBI king of the American League. Willie Stargell won the Major League RBI title with 119. Jackson had 117. Change up. Ball 2, strike 1 to Reggie Jackson. One away, nobody on. There's a smash in the right field. That's a base hit. Ball skips off Staub. Staub quickly flips it back in, and Jackson has his first hit of the 73 series.
Rusty's really hurting in right field with that throw. He had that upper arm glued tight to his body. Watch him just flip this ball back. We don't know if it'll be a factor in this close ball game, rest of the game, but he's hurting.
I was wondering on this replay again from another angle if Jackson might not challenge him that time on the bobble ball and just take off and go to second. Jackson's on first, 1 out. There's a ground ball drilled to third by Gene Tennis to second for 1. The Mets turn a quick double play, and that's all in the last of the 5th inning. They had no runs, they hit nobody left. The end of 5-3-2 Oakland.
This Magnavox Videomatic Color TV does what no TV ever did before Magnavox. Like... Magnavox actually adjusts its own picture to changing room light automatically, constantly, to give you bright, sharp, true color. What a difference watching a Magnavox. And look at this. Into every Videomatic Color TV, Magnavox puts an advanced picture tube. A tube so bright, you can see it a football field away for a crisp, clear picture close up. What a difference. Modular, 100% solid state for on-the-spot repair, plus one-button tuning. It all adds up to Videomatic Color TV, a Magnavox exclusive. See your Magnavox dealer now, and you'll agree. What a difference. Watching a Magnavox.
We pause now for station identification.
Mom may remarry, and Stanley demands to meet her boyfriend on Lots of Luck tomorrow night.
We're going now into the 6th inning of the Oakland Coliseum. Staub, Jones, and Milner for the New York Mets. Staub is grounded out, fly to left. Fly to Blues gone all the way, and Rusty fouls it back. There's been a statement released to the press here. Charlie Finley, the owner of the A's, and the commissioner of baseball, Bowie Kuhn, were in a dispute over the eligibility of the A's squad. They're playing this World Series, that's strike 2, for 24 men. They had a big argument, and evidently Finley has written, or the commissioner has written a letter to Charlie Finley saying that after the World Series, disciplinary action will be taken. Commissioner Kuhn sided with the Mets on the eligibility of a 25th man. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The A's argued over a rain out here last Monday. That Joe Cronin called the game too early. It rained all afternoon. That's strike 3 on the fastball. Staub is out. And Charlie Finley, by the way, if you don't know it, we've announced it several times, is recovering from a heart attack. He's the man with a green jacket. He's not naturally as active as he was last year. He was a one-man show here, put on a great show with his rooting contingent, but he's fortunate to be here in the health he is and making his way around. 1 out, nobody on. Cleon Jones swinging the hot bat in this game A home run to the opposite field and a single to center. He's had 4 hits in the 2 games. There's a strike to him. A 1-strike delivery, high and away. Cleon Jones is the only player now with 4 hits in this still young World Series. 1 down, nobody on. Went for the high fastball. 1 and 2. Blue is just coming with that fastball now.
Kurt, I was about to say from up here, it's difficult for us to tell if he's really popping the ball, if it's moving, but he seems more aggressive and more confident at this time than any time in the game. He wants the ball back in a hurry. He wants his sign. He wants to throw. He seems much more aggressive.
He has struck out 4, walked 1, allowed 3 hits, 2 of them homers. That one just missed, and he is popping that ball. Throwing hard is one thing, but throwing a fastball that moves or does something is another. That's the tough pitch. The 2-2 delivery. That's his curveball that time. 3 and 2.
He started him off with a curve, and it was a good one, and Jones took it. Then he went with the hard stuff and back to the curve.
1 away, nobody on. The A's are leading 3-2. This is the top of the 6th inning. Break foul. Jones was disappointing for the Mets this year in the early part of the season. Fairness to him, he had nagging injuries. But when he finally put it together those last 2 or 3 weeks, he was some ball player. He had 6 homers in the Mets' last 10 games. He drove in key runs, and he's continued right into the series. Another foul.
Kurt, he's throwing good now. That last pitch was a strike, but Jones has already gone after 2 pitches that were out of the strike zone up high, so that fastball must be taking off.
Vida Blue will serve up another 3 and 2 pitch. Jones has played to the opposite field and deep. He has power to right. And Vida Blue lost him. That's the 2nd walk given up by Blue. That puts Cleon Jones at first. 1 out. John Milner up, is grounded out, flied out. And we're going to have action again in the Oakland bullpen. Darrell Knowles, the little left-hander. Horacio Pena, the right-hander. Raleigh Fingers, probably, well, who knows? He may be in there if they need him for a batter or 2.
With the day off tomorrow, Kurt, you're right. He could come in.
Inside, ball 1 to Milner. 3 runs, 7 hits for Oakland. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Mets. The Mets out-hit the A's yesterday. It's the reverse this afternoon. 1 ball, no strikes. Ball 2. It's interesting to watch now. Bando, I just wanted to point something out to you where Bando was playing. And here's Wes Stock coming out, and suddenly the A's are disturbed about a walk to Jones, a 2-0 count to Milner. When a fastball pitcher starts getting behind and has had only 1 walk, that walk came in the 5th, then you begin to wonder if he's not tiring. Losing just a bit of an edge. Now watch Bando where he's going to play. This is a left-handed batter up, remember, Milner. You'd figure he'd be over there in the hole, but he's right a step or 2 off third base for a left-handed batter who's a pull hitter. Beat foul, the count 2-1. There's quite a hole in the shortstop side of the A's infield because Campaneris is over by second. That's an odd layout on the left side of that infield.
That outfield around toward right. The last pitch might have made it 3-0. We went after a bad one. Over anxious.
There's a fly ball in the right center. That ball dropping in for a base hit. Coming on to third is Jones. He's in, and the Mets have runners on first and third, 1 out. As Milner dumps one into right center.
Reggie Jackson tried to decoy as if he was going to catch the ball to try and prevent that runner from going into third base, but Jones would have no part of it.
Leon Jones at third. That's his third base coach, Eddie Yost. At first base is Milner. Now the Oakland fans starting to buzz in the stands. Their team is a one-run lead, but the Mets have mounted a threat in the sixth inning. And here is Dick Williams now moving to the mound. You have Pena, the right-hander, Knowles, the left-hander in the Oakland bullpen.
That's something just about the time you say it looks like a pitcher starting to get his stuff. What happens? It's called putting your foot in your mouth, isn't it?
Well, the thing about Vita is he can be throwing awfully hard, Tony, and it's just a matter of getting in the strike zone. He was a little wild this inning, and his trouble started with a walk the other day against Baltimore in the game where he had the 4-0 lead. He was leading 4-0, and Earl Williams was up. He walked Earl Williams, and next guy gets a hit, and here goes Vita, and in comes Pena.
Vita Blue gets a hand as it goes out, and the right-hander, Horacio Pena, comes on. And while we have the change of pitchers here, we'll tell you the score is Oakland 3 and New York 2.
Pitcher Tom Seaver is wearing a travel knit suit from the men's store at Sears. All our travel knit suits are on sale now. The selection is terrific. So is the choice of styles, and so is the sale price. Regularly $85, now just $64.97. Save $20 at the special sale price, $64.97. Only in the men's store at Sears.
This is the 1974 Plymouth Fury. Proof a tough, reliable family car doesn't have to be dull. With a tough V8 engine pre-tested electronically. That's beautiful. A tough electronic ignition that works no matter how wet the weather. And that's beautiful. The 1974 Plymouth Fury. Tough it is, dull it isn't.
Yes, Plymouth Tough.